Have you ever been to an air show? Have you ever been camping at an air show? Have you ever been camping at the largest air show in the southeast US with 200,000 people attending? I'm going to give you a taste of what it's like, and then I'm going to explain why you should do this at least once. And that last clip was only the practice show for the big Saturday night show. The Fun Aerospace Expo 2023 was an amazing experience, and I'll try and show you why. We were able to camp basically at the air show just south of the airfield for 6 whole days. We showed up Tuesday night to a private campground, basically a field, and sponsored by the E3 Aviation Association. It was a separate area from the Sun and Fun campground at the western end of the airfield. We could take a short walk and hop on a tram to reach a spot in the airfield called the Island. And this place was so chill, it was set up for fly-in pilots and families to have a place for food and drink, some entertainment, and a country store with some basic goods too. A lot of them arrived in their small airplane and then pitched a tent under the wing, so they had all the necessities nearby, including showers. It was from here we spotted a massive twin-rotor helicopter. I'm pretty sure it was a Chinook or a Boeing Vertol 107. Leave a comment if you know which one it is. And have you ever seen a canoe strapped to an airplane? This is like a new category of RV and looks like a lot of fun. And this is the Holmes Jetmobile. Paul Jetman Holmes spent about 1,000 hours building it. Roaming around the airstrip or the West Campground day or night, this thing is a party on wheels with music blasting and a little light show all of its own. You can see really nicely at night. It's a 21-foot long converted Pratt & Whitney cowling. It has a golf cart chassis and can go about 5 miles per charge with a top speed of 11 knots. This thing had 110,000 total original hours on it, flying for Singapore Airlines, Korean Airlines, and others. I'll show you some more planes and stunts while I tell you more about our camping situation. It was dry camping, or boondocking, basically meaning we had no hookups for our RV for power, water, or sewer. But we did have service trucks come to refill our freshwater tank and pump out our other tanks. Wednesday morning we caught a tram ride back to the island, and from there we took a connecting tram to the exhibit and flight line area and walked right into the E3 chalet where these videos were taken, out in their private viewing area. For some showtimes, it was an exclusive area for E3 members, which we were, and we were able to see the practices and later that night the shows in the evening from here, and that was an awesome vantage point. We saw several performances that day, including your Amazon package going up in the air. Wait, pretend your package was on this other plane. I've had a few show up like they took the Tumble Express, maybe with this guy. We even found a Top Fuel race car in the exhibit area. We spent some time walking around the displays with small airplanes and helicopters. And then this Beechcraft jet in a semi-truck, which the boys pretty much decided they should have tomorrow. And nothing wrong with owning a good Bell chopper too, right? We wandered around some more and saw a group of 7 planes doing a formation across the flight line on our way back to the E3 Chalet. We walked in there on a taping of a Q&A with ex-fighter pilots, and you can see Liam here on the right after he asked them about dealing with problems they've had in the air. It was really interesting to hear about some of the crazy situations they've had to think and fly their way out of.
I believe the black cloud stays over me in that regard. I've been a multi-engine guy, had about 2,400 hours flying F-18s, and God bless these single-engine souls. But I've lost up to 12 engines in my career. So explosions, birds, throwing blades out the side of the airplane, put holes in airplanes. It's been fun, it's been a blessing, and that's where the education piece of E3 comes in, because it teaches you time management. It teaches you all the things that you would never think about as a kid.
So you're 10 or 12 years old and you got to hang out with a former Blue Angels pilot. It's a pretty good day, right? We took a tram back to the campground and watched some more flying from afar. Got some food, and then we headed back in for the evening show at the flight line. It was actually their practice. And if you've never experienced a nighttime performance at a major air show, you've got to do it at least once. From pilots to parachutes, you'll see some things you'll never forget, including pyrotechnics. Even at this distance, I had to check and see if I still had my eyebrows after some of these blasts. And the pyrotechnics were not just on the ground, they were launching from airplanes. Again, this was just the practice show earlier in the week. I'll show you more of the full show later. The next day, we were wandering around and saw the Blue Angels practicing, so we hurried back to the flight line, and right in front of us was the whole Blue Angels support crew. We learned that one of them aims a bright spotlight at the jets as a visual point of reference on the ground. They're truly an amazing team. It's always a treat to hear those jet engines scream by and see the precision of those pilots. There you go, Blue Angels and a DeLorean, same shot. Yep, they had a DeLorean parked out in front of a hangar, and they filled that hangar with hands-on aerospace and related education and a little fun for the kids. Some of it was sponsored by Siemens and even the FAA. I'm almost positive they all thought it was riveting. Okay, but seriously, they did all get to learn about riveting, which could come in handy someday when they own an airplane or an Airstream, right? We learned about the Airport Design Challenge, where students research an airport and then recreate it in the virtual blocky world of Minecraft. That's a game with a creative mode where you build and explore virtual worlds made up of various blocks. This challenge is to make the airport as accurate as possible. I'll have a link to the program in the video description. They got to check out some cool drones, much cooler than mine, and then they got to fly small ones in the hangar, and everyone had some fun with those. The kids were given little passport books to get stamped at various stations for tasks as simple as a quiz or as complex as trying their hand at 3D design on a PC. While we learned that 3D printing is helping replace obsolete parts on older aircraft, We also saw a horizontal 3D printer that can print designs of an endless length. We headed back outside to the sound of a roaring jet performance. A heritage flight with old and new aircraft. And then some more Blue Angels action. It never gets tiring watching them, but our feet were needing a break, so we headed back to the E3 campground where we saw Fat Albert go by and some tiny powered aircraft. Later, we headed over to the Piedmont Aerospace Experience, a fully functional, retired FedEx 727 freighter. After 2,000 volunteer hours to restore it, the plane is now a classroom and part meeting space. The engines and everything else work, and with a certificate of airworthiness, this plane could be flown. We talked with several students of the on-site Central Florida Aerospace Academy who answered questions about the plane and their school. Can you believe they go to school at the airport and earn certifications and licenses while completing high school? Check out that conference room table. It's the leading edge slat of a different 727 aircraft.
That's super cool. So are we moving on Monday? So we get our 3 pilots into school? Yeah.
We spent some time at the Florida Air Museum next door where you could wander through some aviation history. From ultralights to warbirds to NASA, there's a little bit of everything in here. And there are exhibits about Howard Hughes and early air racers and some educational experiences for all ages. You might want to pause here and read this sign about the birth of the airline industry happening nearby in St. Petersburg, Florida. I think my favorite plane here was the Air Camper, invented by Bernard Pietenpol. We love camping in our non-flying camper, and I can only imagine a pilot stuffing a sleeping bag and some coffee into this plane with his favorite passenger and heading off to completely different scenery for a little camping. And I know they did this because I had the opportunity to talk with the inventor's grandson, Andrew, and learn a bit more about its history. Turns out it wasn't originally called an air camper. That term was coined by a magazine back in the 1920s. Part of Bernard's inspiration was wanting to build a plane with an inexpensive Model T or Model A automobile engine, instead of a certified aircraft engine that's more expensive. He custom built these himself in about 1,000 hours, selling them prior to World War II for $750 with the colors of your choice. Selling his popular plans and kits, he became known as the father of the home-built airplane. I'll put a link to the rest of the story in the video description. We wandered through exhibits about navigational tools, NOAA, and learned a bit about G-forces and even the space shuttle engines. It's almost hard to imagine 512,000 pounds of thrust coming out of that. I'll link to the museum's website in the video description where you can go and see their calendar and events they have like wings and waffles. Heading back outside to the bigger aircraft. Yesterday I thought this was the biggest plane here, and I think it was, but not anymore. Yes, C-17s are massive, and we'll take you inside the cockpit soon. But first, a quick break.
You know, we could go back to the air show, it's right over there, or we could stay at the camper.
We did head back into the air show and the vendor area. So many cool things for sale there. We turned out of that avenue and towards the E3 Chalet just in time to catch the F-35B, also known as the Lightning II, doing a low-speed pass. Watch the elevator action on it. I've never seen that before. And then a high-speed pass. And then what the supersonic F-35B is known for, the B means that this is the short takeoff and vertical landing variant, the letters STOVL. And we got quite a show, front and center. This expert pilot showed us the maneuverability of this amazing aircraft, and it was a sight to behold that none of us will forget. We also had the privilege of Feed, the former Blue Angels pilot, guiding us through a demonstration. First, it was their C-130 support plane called Fat Albert, which was carrying 50 or 60 former and current military personnel on a thrilling flight in appreciation for their service. Then a bit more of the Blues flying high. We headed back to the tarmac to check out some more planes and military helicopters, new and old. We managed to find our way into the business end of a KC-135 Stratotanker built in 1963. The boys got to sit in the boom pod where they typically help refuel aircraft like F-105s, F-4s, and B-52 bombers. We also saw an Army MQ-1C Gray Eagle drone up close and learned about their command vehicle where they pilot these bad boys from. Back in the exhibit areas, we found a real, moving flight simulator system, and each of the kids got a chance to pilot a small craft, and while 2 out of 3 couldn't reach the rudder pedals, they all enjoyed it a lot. Be sure to check out our other video on our channel where Sydney got to pilot a real plane as part of the EAA's Young Eagles program. Back out on the tarmac in the morning, we were able to see the enormous C-17 Globemaster III get turned on and opened up, and then take a walk to the flight deck. It's 174 feet long with a 169-foot wingspan, powered by 4 engines with a total thrust of over 160,000 pounds. This beast can carry almost 171,000 pounds, loaded into those rear doors in the cargo bay, going 450 knots. It was kind of funny as we made our way upstairs. A moment later, we quickly found that just because you can get somewhere on these aircraft at the air show doesn't mean you should go there. They used to let the kids take a walk up on the catwalk where they check for icing, but they don't anymore.
Real fast, guys. We don't want to do that today. Just because we had a little fog. you might come back this way? Sorry about that. No, you're good. We did it last year and then got a little bit.
Watch Liam and Colin get a lesson on flying the C-17.
Liam and co-pilot Colin, we're going to be flying this airplane now, so I need help flying this airplane. I'm still learning myself. So, if you want to grab right here, put that forward for me. All aboard. There we go. That's the gas pedal, right? On this airplane, we got 4 gas pedals, we got 4 engines. We just push some full power. But that airplane in front of us looks really expensive. I don't want to hit it. So, co-pilot Liam, we're going to take off now. So we're going to grab right here. And we're going to pull back this way. There you go. Perfect. So nice and gentle like you did, and that's us taking off. That's simply how you fly a C-17. We can think it, we can do it. We carried that big black helicopter. We carried that one before in the back of this one. Let's have a killer whale and orca in the back of this.
We were learning how they
really,
put helicopters and even an orca into the back of this plane. And did I mention later we got to meet Maverick and Iceman? Then another camper break. Man, it was great being that close to the airfield. Here's some more eye candy, and I think this is the C5 Super Galaxy. It's always fun to turn around and hear some of these beautiful planes in the sky. And here's another treat. After this airplane showed us its crazy climbing ability and flashed us its bomb-carrying bays, we got to see it hit transonic speeds, that is right around Mach 1, or the speed of sound, when the aircraft is between subsonic and supersonic speed. Vapor clouds can form at this threshold, and we saw a lot of them. Another sight etched into our memories of this awesome week. On Saturday evening, it's time to get ready for the night show, starting with the powered paragliders and then the aeroshell acrobatics team. Followed by an unpowered glider. And then the finale. A spectacular pyro-musical show filled with choreographed lights, music, fireworks, and of course, a plane flying around in the midst of it all. We'll end here with some clips of the show, and we hope you found this video entertaining and enlightening. And if so, please subscribe for more wandering fun.